Welcome to The Last Calm Word. Let's get started with today's story. Cynthia and I had an argument before she went to that bachelorette party. She came into the kitchen holding her phone already dressed to go out. "I'm going to Melissa's bachelorette weekend," she said. I looked up from checking Theodore's homework. Weekend. Yeah, one night out, maybe two. Drinks the usual. I shook my head. "You're married. We have a kid. That's not just a random night out anymore." She sighed like I was being difficult on purpose. "Arthur, it's my friend's event. I'm not asking for permission. I'm not talking about permission. I'm talking about priorities." That's when her tone changed. "I don't need you to approve every time I leave the house." "I didn't say that." "Yes, you did," she snapped. "You act like I should just sit at home because I have a family." I stood up. "That's not what I said. I said think about what you're doing." She laughed once, sharp and cold. "I am thinking, and am still going." "Cynthia." She cut me off. "No, listen to me. Am not owned. Am not controlled. I don't stop living my life because I got married young and had a kid." There was a pause after that. Theodore was upstairs. I lowered my voice. "This isn't about control. It's about respect, and I don't like what goes on at those parties." She grabbed her bag from the counter. "I respect myself enough to go out with my friends." I stepped closer. "And what does that mean for us?" She looked straight at me, no hesitation. "It means I'm still me." Then she walked past me. Door closed, no more discussion. I didn't think much of it after she left. People argue, it passes. I stayed home with our son Theodore. I finished checking his homework, then put him to sleep. After that, I watched some television. Normal night. Cynthia came back the next afternoon. That was the first thing that didn't sit right. "Long party?" I asked, leaning against the kitchen counter. She dropped her bag, avoided eye contact. "Yeah. We stayed at a hotel, didn't want to drive." I nodded once. "You didn't mention that." She shrugged. "Plans changed." That was Cynthia's first mistake. She was never vague. She used to tell me everything, even things I didn't ask. Now she kept things short. Over the next few days I watched. She was on her phone more, not openly. Subtle. Screen tilted away, quick replies, a slight smile she didn't explain. Not the kind she used to give me. At dinner, Theodore was talking about school. "Dad helped me build a project," he said. Cynthia barely looked up. "That's nice." I noticed that. Later that night, I asked, "Everything good?" She sat on the edge of the bed scrolling. "Yeah. Why?" "You seem distracted." She locked her phone and looked at me just for a second too long. "You're overthinking." "Maybe. But I don't ignore patterns. The woman I married didn't come home late, act distant, and brush things off like that." Cynthia was sharp, present, engaged. This version of her felt disconnected. A few days later, I saw her laughing quietly at her phone in the kitchen. I walked in. The smile disappeared instantly. "Who's that?" I asked. "No one." "Melissa?" I didn't respond. I just looked at her. She held my gaze for about 2 seconds, then turned away and opened the fridge like the conversation was over. That told me everything I needed to know. I didn't argue. I didn't push. I stepped back. Because when something changes that fast, you don't react. You observe. And whatever happened at that party didn't end there. About 2 weeks later, Cynthia told me she was pregnant. She didn't build up to it. No emotion, no smile, just dropped it in the middle of the kitchen like it was another item on a list. "I'm pregnant," she said, pouring herself a glass of water. I didn't react right away. I watched her instead. "How far?" I asked. She hesitated. "Just a second." "A few weeks." I nodded slowly. "A few weeks." She took a sip, avoiding my eyes. "Yeah, that's when it locked in." The timing didn't make sense. I knew exactly when we had been together. I also knew the gap. I didn't need a doctor to do the math. I leaned back against the counter. "That lines up pretty close to that party, does not it?" Her head snapped up. "What?" The timing, I said calmly. "It lines up with the night you didn't come home." Her expression tightened. "Arthur, do not start." "I'm not starting anything. I'm asking a simple question." "You're being ridiculous," she said, sharper now. "It's your child." I held her gaze. "Say that again." She hesitated. That hesitation mattered more than anything she could have said. "It's your child," she repeated. But this time it sounded forced. I stepped closer. Not aggressive, just direct. "Look at me and say it." She looked, but she did not hold it. That was enough. I nodded once and stepped back. "All right," she frowned. "That's it. For now." She let out a breath, almost like she expected a fight. "You're unbelievable." "No," I said. "I'm paying attention." She shook her head and walked past me. "You always do this. Turn everything into something it's not." I did not respond because I was not guessing anymore. I did not need her to admit anything, not yet. What I needed was certainty, and certainty does not come from arguments. It comes from facts. That night while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I did not rush. I did not panic. I walked over and glanced at the screen. No name, just a number. But the preview was enough. Still thinking about that night, I locked the screen and walked away before she came out. No reaction, no confrontation, just confirmation. Whatever happened at that party was not a mistake. It was a decision. And now it had consequences. I did not confront her again after that. There was no point. Once someone starts lying, words do not matter anymore. Only proof does. The next morning, I called Mark Reynolds. He was a friend of mine who worked private investigations on the side. Straightforward guy, no unnecessary questions. I need you to check something, I said. Go on, he replied. I've got a number from Cynthia's phone. I want to know who it belongs to, and anything you can find from the hotel where she was that weekend. A short pause. All right, Mark said. Send it over. I'll see what I can pull. I do not want guesses, I said. I want facts. You will get facts. That same week, I kept my routine normal, came home earlier, watched everything closely. Cynthia started stepping outside more often to take calls. Always short, always low voice. One evening, I walked out quietly while she was on the balcony. I told you it is handled, she said into the phone. He is not suspicious. I leaned against the doorframe. Should I be? She turned sharply. The call ended immediately. Who was that? I asked. Work, she said too fast. Say his name. There is no him, Arthur. I nodded slowly. Right. I walked back inside before she could say anything else. No argument, no raised voice, just another piece added to the picture. 2 days later, Mark called. I've got something, he said. Go ahead. That number belongs to a guy named Victor White. He was at that same hotel the night of the party. Corporate event on the top floor. I did not say anything. Mark continued. Security footage shows your wife leaving the party floor around midnight. She did not go back to her room. Where did she go? Elevator top floor. That was enough. She did not come back down until morning, Mark added. I let that sit for a second. Anything else? Yeah, Victor checked out late. Around the same time. I exhaled once, calm controlled. Send me everything. You sure you want to go down this road? Mark asked. I'm already on it. After I hung up, I sat in silence for a minute. No anger, no shock, just clarity. That night was not an accident. It was planned enough, long enough, clear enough, and now there was a child involved. I stood up, grabbed my keys, and looked toward the hallway, where Cynthia was moving around like everything was normal. It was not normal, and I was not going to treat it like it was. The next move was not about finding out the truth anymore. I already had it. Now it was about what I was going to do with it. I told Cynthia we were going out to dinner. She looked surprised. Since when do you plan dates? Since now, I said. Get ready, 8 o'clock. She studied me for a second like she was trying to read something. Then she nodded. All right. I chose a place downtown, quite expensive, the kind where people mind their own business. Dim lights, clean tables, no noise. We sat across from each other. She ordered wine. I ordered whiskey. For a few minutes, we played normal. How was Theodore's project? She asked. Finished, I said. He did good. That's nice. Silence settled in. The waiter brought the drinks. I took a slow sip, then set the glass down. Who is Victor White? I asked. Her hand froze halfway to her wine. I do not know who that is, she said too quickly. I nodded once. Top floor, same hotel night of the party. Her eyes flicked up to mine. This time she did not look away immediately. You have been digging, she said. I have been paying attention. She set the glass down slowly. Arthur, do not do this here. Then where? I asked. At home, in front of our son. Her jaw tightened. You're making a scene. I leaned forward slightly. No, I'm giving you a chance to tell the truth. She stayed quiet, so I continued. You left your friend's party around midnight. You went upstairs. You stayed there until morning. I held her gaze. And now you're pregnant. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. Say it, I said calmly. She shook her head. It did not mean anything. I sat back. That's not what I asked. She swallowed hard. It was one night. There it is. She looked around quickly, lowering her voice. I was drunk. Everyone was pushing shots. Melissa, the others. It just happened. Things do not just happen, I said. You made a decision. Her voice sharpened. You think you're perfect? You think you have never made mistakes. I do not make mistakes that create children with strangers. That shut her up. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she leaned in quieter now. It's still your family. We can fix this. I looked at her like I was seeing her for the first time. No, I said. We cannot. Her expression cracked slightly. Arthur, I cut her off. I already confirmed everything. That changed something in her face. Fear. Then why are we here? She asked. I picked up my glass. Because I wanted you to say it to my face. I stood up, left money on the table, and looked down at her. You do not get to lie anymore. Then I walked out. And for the first time since this started, I was not reacting. I was in control. I did not go home that night. I drove around for about an hour, not thinking, just putting distance between me and that restaurant. By the time I stopped, I already knew what the next steps were. This was not emotional anymore. It was logistical. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Her name was Rebecca Collins. Straightforward, no nonsense. I laid everything out. Timeline pregnancy confirmed infidelity. She did not interrupt, just listened. When I finished, she said, "Do you want out or do you want leverage?" "I want control," I replied. "Then we move fast." She said, "Secure finances first, then establish paternity. Without that, everything stays messy." Understood. By the time I hung up, I had a plan. That same day, I moved half of our joint money into a separate account under my name. Not hidden, just protected. I changed passwords, locked access where I could. When I got home, Cynthia was waiting. "You just walked out," she said. "You did not even answer your phone." I was not interested in talking. She crossed her arms. "We need to figure this out." I already did. That stopped her. "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means I'm getting a DNA test," I said. "And depending on the result, everything changes." Her expression hardened. "You do not trust me." I looked at her evenly. "You slept with another man and got pregnant." She opened her mouth, then closed it. "I do not deal in trust anymore," I added. She paced once across the room. "It was a mistake, Arthur. One night, I told you that. And now there is a child involved. That's not a mistake. That's a consequence." She stopped. "So what? You're just going to throw everything away?" "No," I said. "You already did that. I'm just cleaning it up." That hit her. For a moment, she softened. "We have Theodore. Think about him." "I am," I said. "That's why I'm handling this properly." I pulled a folder from my bag and set it on the table. "What's that?" she asked. "Next steps," I said. "Legal, financial, and the test." She did not touch it. "You're serious," she said quietly. "I do not bluff." Silence stretched between us. Then she tried one last angle. "We can still fix this. People go through worse." I shook my head. "Not like this." I turned and walked toward the hallway. "Arthur," she called after me. I stopped, but I did not turn around. "You do not come back from this," I said. "You move forward without it." And that's exactly what I was going to do. The DNA test did not take long. 10 days. That's all it took to turn assumption into fact. Rebecca called me first. Results came in, she said. "You're not the father." "I expected that," I replied. "Good. Then we move immediately." By the time I got home, Cynthia was already waiting in the living room. She must have felt the shift. People do when things are about to fall apart. "What did the test say?" she asked. I did not sit down. "It is not mine." Her face went pale, but she did not deny it this time. Instead, she tried something else. "Arthur, listen. We can still." "No," I cut in. "We're past that." She stood up, walking toward me. "You're really going to do this? End everything?" "You ended it weeks ago," I said. "I'm just finalizing it." Her voice cracked slightly. "It was one night. And now it is something bigger," I replied. That shut her down for a moment. Then came the shift. Defensive. "You're acting like you have never done anything wrong," she snapped. "Like you're perfect." "I did not betray my family," I said calmly. She looked away, jaw tight. "So what now?" "You just kick me out." "I've already filed," I said. "You will be served tomorrow." Her head snapped back. "You already?" "I do not wait around," I said. That's when it hit her fully. "You moved money," she said slowly. "Yes." Her eyes sharpened. "You planned all this." "I prepared." I corrected. She laughed bitterly. "You're cold." "I'm clear." She started pacing. "Where am I supposed to go?" "That's not my problem anymore." That line landed harder than anything else I had said. For a second, she looked like she might break down, but instead she straightened up. "You think this makes you a man?" she said. I looked at her evenly. Handling reality does. Silence filled the room. Then she grabbed her phone, her keys, and her bag. "This is not over," she said as she headed for the door. "It is for me," I replied. She stopped for a second like she wanted to say something else. Then she left. Just like that. No more arguments. No more pretending. That night I sat with Theodore while he watched television. "Where is Mom?" he asked. "She is staying somewhere else for a while," I said. He nodded, accepting it. Kids understand more than people think. And for the first time in weeks, there was no tension in the room because the problem was not hidden anymore. It was gone. The divorce moved fast. When there is clear evidence, things do not drag out. Cynthia did not fight much. She could not. Between the DNA result and the timeline, there was nothing for her to stand on. Rebecca handled everything cleanly. "You will keep the house," she told me. "Primary custody, too. She does not have the stability to contest it right now." That was enough. Cynthia moved in with her friend Melissa, the same one who hosted the party. I heard that did not last long. Too much tension. Too many reminders of how this all started. A few weeks later, I saw Cynthia again. She asked to meet. I chose a coffee place. Public. Neutral. She looked different. Tired. Not put together like before. Thank coming, she said. I sat down across from her. Say what you need to say. She nodded slowly. I messed up. I did not respond. She continued, I did not think it would go this far. It was just that night. Everyone was drinking, pushing things, and You made a choice, I said. She closed her eyes briefly. Yes. Silence sat between us. I lost everything she said quietly. You, Theodore, are home. You did not lose it, I replied. You traded it. That hit her. She leaned forward. I want to see Theodore more. You will, I said. On schedule. That's it, she asked. No flexibility. Consistency matters more than your feelings right now. She swallowed that. Then she tried one last angle. We had a life, Arthur. I held her gaze, and you walked out of it. She looked down at her hands. The guy Victor, he is not around. Am not surprised. He does not want anything to do with this, she added. That's your situation to handle. She nodded slowly. I thought you would be angrier. I was, I said. Then I handled it. That was the difference. No yelling, no chasing, no begging, just action. She looked at me one last time. Do you ever think about us? Not the way you want, I said. That was the truth. I stood up. Take care of yourself, I added. She gave a small, empty nod. As I walked away, I did not look back because there was nothing behind me worth revisiting. Everything that mattered was already in front of me. After that meeting, Cynthia faded out of my life in a way that was almost quiet. No more late calls, no more arguments, just scheduled visits with Theodore, and short professional exchanges when necessary. She tried to stabilize, but it did not happen fast. The fallout from the pregnancy, the divorce, and the truth about that night followed her everywhere. People talk more than they admit. I did not focus on it. I focused on Theodore's school runs, homework, weekends, the normal things that actually matter when everything else burns down. One evening, Mark called me. You are not going to like what I heard, he said. Go ahead. Victor left the city, no forwarding address. Clean exit. I was not surprised. That fits. And Cynthia is struggling financially. Melissa cut contact too. Not my problem anymore, I said. That's what I figured you would say. And I meant it. A few months passed like that. Then Rebecca called again. Final decree is signed. You are officially divorced. Good. That was it. No celebration. No emotion. Just closure. Later that night, I sat in the kitchen with Theodore doing his school project. He looked up at me. Are we okay now? I thought about it for a second. Yeah, I said. We are okay. And for the first time in a long time, that was true. A few weeks after that, I started seeing someone again. Her name was Laura Bennett. I took it slow, kept things simple, and did not rush into anything. I was not in a hurry anymore. Months later, I heard the final version of Cynthia's situation through Mark. She had moved in with a distant relative. The child from that night was gone from her life, adoption handled quietly without drama. Whatever confidence she once had was gone too. No career momentum, no stable relationship, just pieces of a life she used to control. I did not feel satisfaction. I did not feel anger, either, just distance. One night, Theodore asked me, Do you miss Mom? I looked at him carefully. I miss who she was. I said, not who she became. He nodded like he understood more than he said. Years have a way settling things. The anger that once felt heavy does not stay sharp forever. It gets replaced with structure, responsibility, routine, and peace. On a winter evening, I sat outside watching Theodore laugh in the yard, while Laura set the table behind me. A life rebuilt not from luck, but from decisions made when everything else fell apart. Cynthia tried to break my life. In the end, she only proved I could rebuild it. And I did. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Wishing you all the best. Stay healthy and take care.